Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2000 subscriber special. What if Tanjiro was Barnes' reincarnation? Let's go! Now, before this part does start up, I do want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for 2,000 subs. Like, I don't do anything. Like, I really don't do a lot. I just talk. Sometimes I'll write a script and talk, but I just talk to a microphone and upload it onto the internet. That's literally all I do. So, if you guys enjoy this stuff, I am very thankful for that. And yeah, I do want to thank this. Like, as Crown Fiend has stated in his 8,000 sub special, or one of them, in some of his videos, he says that some of the people just say it for the sake of saying it and kind of half-ass it, really. I'm not. I'm being fully genuine here. I am very thankful for this. Like, but yeah, as I said, I don't do a lot. It's literally all you guys. You guys just tell me, hi, you do great, and that motivates me to pretty much talk to myself again. So, yeah, that's pretty much the rest of this rant over. Thank you for everyone. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So, I hope you guys do enjoy this part. If you do, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. If you want to get these videos as soon as they come out, hit the notification bell and you'll be able to see them as soon as they come out, or at least be notified from as soon as they come out. And leave a comment whether you want to, I don't know, suggest a what if, talk about a what if, or just say hello. Any of those things, that would be cool. But anyway, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me just talk, even though you will be hearing me talk. But I'm sure you want to actually hear the story. So here we go with my first ever Tanjiro what if. What if Tanjiro was Barnes' reincarnation? Just remember, God is awesome, you guys are too, and let's just get straight into this epic what if. Tanjiro Kamado. He lives with his family up in the mountains, up in the snowy mountains, where he collects charcoal and takes it down to the village to earn money and to make a living. He lives up there with his mother, his father, his younger sister Nezuko, and his other siblings. However, he's very different to his other siblings and very different to his canon counterpart, where all of his family have either black or dark maroon hair. He has light blue hair, still having the dark maroon eyes that he originally had in canon. He is also a lot more relaxed and nonchalant about a lot of things, and can sometimes be a bit more aggressive than normal, and he's a lot more prone to put himself out there in danger, not thinking about the consequences. While he's up there with his family, he learns with his father, when his father goes up to do the ceremonial Hinokami Kagura dance for the New Year's ritual, he decides one year, at the age of around 9 years old, that he wants to try it out. And so he does, and over the next few years, training with his father, he finally gets a almost grasp on the dance, as his father just explains that this is a ceremonial thing that they've done in their family for generations. When he was around the age of 10 years old, he also found that he had this strange ability. It's almost some strange magical ability where a sort of rope or chain made of this strange pinkish magic will fly out of his hand and grab something, and he can pull it back, and it doesn't even matter what it is, whether it is a log, a sword, or even a part of a person's body. As one time when him and his brother were out collecting wood, they were attacked by a wild mountain boar. As the boar went charging towards his brother, he threw his kind of rope magic thing that he kind of named Snatch. He threw it towards the boar to try and pull it away from his brother. However, when he threw it at it, it just went straight through as he pulled back, tearing out the monster's heart. Or not the monster, but the boar's heart, killing it immediately. As he found this out, he decided to try and train it at least, and try and figure out how to use it properly, so that if they or their family are ever in danger, he can try and use this strange magical ability to take down anyone that tries to harm his family. That, along with the Hinokami Kagura dance, could be quite a vicious combo if he ever has to get himself into a fight, which would be very unlikely since they're quite solitary up in their mountain house, and the only person that really leaves is himself to go and give charcoal to the residents of the village down below and help them out with other tasks. A few years later, when Tanjiro was the age of 13, he goes down greeting or saying goodbye to all of his family, his father dying a few months earlier, as he goes down to give everybody the firewood and charcoal that they need, also helping them out if they need be. As he does this for the entire day, he ends up going back, heading back home as it starts getting dark, realizing that he may have done a bit too much to help everyone, as it will be dark before he arrives home. As he realizes this and starts walking home, an old man decides to go and warn him about these strange creatures called demons that come out at night, and he shouldn't go out at night. So just to stay with him for the night and go back home in the morning. Tanjiro, after some convincing was needed, and since his nonchalant attitude just thought, it should be fine, it will be all good, is finally convinced by the old man to stay with him for the night as he does it, and they head home, or he wakes up and heads home the next day. As he makes it up the hill and sees his homestead, he sees something horrifying. His family massacred, as he sees his sister Nezuko lying over his younger brother with blood surrounding them. As he rushes in, checking if any of them are alive, as he rushes around trying to figure out what happened, he looks inside to see his mother and the rest of his siblings dead in the corner and all around the house. Tanjiro doesn't know what to do. He's freaking out. He's just unsure of what happened. It's so sudden. Why has this happened? He's just kind of freaking out as he hears something behind him. He turns around and hears and smells and hears his sister Nezuko moving, realizing she's still alive. Rushing as fast as he can, he chucks her on his back as he runs down the hill. Running down to try and get to the village to save her. As he does this, she wriggles around on his back, forcing him down a small cliff as they land in the soft snow, breaking their fall as they land in the forest. As Tanjiro looks up, he sees his sister Nezuko on the ground. Before he can really get up, however, she gets up first, as it's weird. Her teeth are sharpened, her nails are elongated and saliva is drooling from her mouth as she looks up towards Tanjiro. Her eyes are slitted and kind of vessels and blood vessels are pulsating around her face and in her eyes as she leaps towards him. Him only having the small axe that he was carrying on him, puts it in front of him, throwing it into Nezuko's mouth and trying to hold her off. Him being a lot stronger than a person probably should be, is able to force her off and push her onto the ground, forcing her down there as to make sure she doesn't cause any harm to him or anyone around, as he tries to knock some sense into her. As he's holding his sister down, trying to restrain her, Tanjiro then sees his sister Nezuko crying, looking like she doesn't want to do this, but she can't resist it, she can't stop. As he sees this, he then hears something behind him, turning around to see a man behind him. As he sees this, the man then explains that she is a demon and she needs to die. Tanjiro then explaining to the man, please, no, she's my sister, she's no demon. And if she was, then she can change. No matter what, I'm not gonna let her hurt anyone. Well, if that's the case, kid, then try and stop me. As this happens, the man tries to dash towards Tanjiro before Tanjiro then grabs Nezuko and throws her away, her hitting a tree as a blade swings down towards him. Tanjiro dodging to the side before pushing the blade away, as the man then shoulder checks him and dashes towards Nezuko, grabbing her and going behind her, putting his blade up to her neck. Him thinking that this kid is quite impressive, that he was able to, one, have the strength to throw her that far, and two, being able to dodge him, and him kind of bringing this up to Tanjiro, saying that he is quite impressive for someone who he believes is kind of untrained. As this happens, he then explains that if he wants to save his sister, and if he wants his sister to live, he will have to save her, take her off his hands, and get her away. As this happens, Tanjiro then kind of gets up. As he's on the ground, he gets up, hitting the ground, angry at himself that he let himself get pushed down like that. He starts slamming the ground harder and harder as he tries to get up, summoning all the strength he can. This pink aura starts coming off of him as Tomioka, the man holding the blade up to his sister's neck, starts feeling weaker and weaker. Not really sure what's happening, as he's thinking like, I was able to, what's going on? Why am I getting weaker? As Tanjiro's getting bigger, more muscles are forming on his body as he's getting bigger and stronger and angrier, as he charges towards Tomioka with blinding speeds, as he hits Tomioka away with one hand, sending him flying before grabbing his sister and bringing her into a hug. As that happens, he starts feeling the drawback. As soon as he brought up this power, it's gone, as he falls to the ground immediately, unable to move as he tries to move, but he just can't. Him feeling extreme pain, and his muscles are throbbing, feeling like they're tearing his insides out, as he's just on the ground in pain. As this happens, Tomioka gets up, ready to go back at him, but he sees the demon, Tanjiro's sister Nezuko, guarding him, protecting him from this demon slayer. As soon as that happens, Tomioka dashes forward, knocking her out, as he then explains to Tanjiro that he should go to his old master. His old master was a former Hashira from the Demon Slayer Corps, and he can train him to defeat kind of demons and to save his sister. A few hours later, Tanjiro wakes up, remembering what Giyu Tomioka had told him earlier, and decides to head off to his master, taking Nezuko with him, putting her in the basket, and heading off to the mountains. Quite a few hours later, they arrive at around just past noon, as they arrive to a strange building, a building with a strange scent. It smells familiar. It's the smell of blood, as he dashes in, seeing a man being eaten to death by another man. Yeah, so he sees a man being ripped apart by this monster figure. Like, he looks human, but it's not, as the person turns around as he charges towards Nezuko. Charges towards Tanjiro, sorry. As he charges towards Tanjiro, as he tries to eat him. Seeing Nezuko there, wondering why Nezuko isn't eating Tanjiro. Tanjiro, using his snatch ability, reaches out, snatching at the demon's head and ripping it off before throwing it towards the tree and grabbing the axe that he already had in his hand and throwing it, hitting the demon square in the skull, splitting it as it can't move. He then uses his snatch ability again to rip out the demon's heart and to pin that thing down until the sun, until kind of it can bring it outside, burning it alive. As this happens, he then sees an old man walk towards him. This man being Urokodaki, as he explains that he is the boy, or Urokodaki explains that he must be the boy that Tomioka had told him about and sent him a letter. As Tanjiro explains that, yeah, he is. So, doing this, he then decides to go and train with Urokodaki. Him being taken up the hill and being forced to run down it constantly. Tanjiro getting the hang of it very quickly and making it down the hill in a matter of hours. As Urokodaki is very surprised that he was able to do it this quickly. And Tanjiro explains that he's just built different. As I explained earlier, he's got a bit more of a cocky side, since he is Barnes' reincarnation. So, yeah, he then decides to send Tanjiro to do some more training, making him use kind of a sword, but Tanjiro explains that he doesn't really have a good affinity for the sword, as he wants to try out some other weapons. As Urokodaki shows him some other things, he then shows him a sword, an axe, a different types of swords. He even shows him a kind of couple of daggers that he could use, and a bow staff. That is until he's shown a 3-section staff. Tanjiro immediately taking an affinity to it, except wondering if he could get one extra kind of stick attached to it, making it a 4-section staff, giving him some more reach. Urokodaki does so, as they then get his staff, as he uses it very proficiently, using it like nunchucks but better, as he's able to use it extremely proficiently and easy. Urokodaki then sends him to a boulder for him to split. Tanjiro doing so, as he's then forced to split the boulder. He does this, and it takes him about 3 weeks, maybe, around 3 weeks to try and cut through the boulder, until he makes a gigantic swing, slamming it down into the boulder, splitting it in half, and sending both halves flying back. As he does this, Urokodaki stands there kind of shocked, as he wanted to see how Tanjiro was doing. He stands there shocked, seeing that the boulder has been destroyed. As he does this, he then explains that he should try and figure out, questions if he wants to go for the exam that's coming up now, or if he should wait. And Tanjiro explains that his father did a dance where it looked like he symbolized some sort of fire when he used it, and that was a kind of dance that he called the Hinokami Kagura, and he had a little bit of experience in it, but he couldn't get full control over it, and explained that he wanted to try and master that before he went to the kind of exams. Urokodaki accepts this, kind of thinking in his mind that he wants Tanjiro to train as much as possible, as he doesn't want to lose another student. Tanjiro, using the Hinokami Kagura, using it multiple times, digging into his memory and trying multiple different ways to use it until a year had passed, as he's nearly completely mastered the Hinokami Kagura, as he's created his own form that incorporates his snatch ability called Hunter's Breathing. Him using his multiple different abilities, using the Hinokami Kagura and snatch, him also trying to use the ability that he used against Tomioka, but with less drawbacks, that he liked to call Hunter's Fist. With that ability, he's able to drain the strength of anything around him and bringing it into himself, and strengthening himself for a small amount of time, but the drawback of it is that he is pretty much immobilized after the Hunter's Fest is over. As he tries to train this, he trains this over the next year as well, getting stronger and stronger and getting a lot better at this ability. As he used this, he then figures out how to incorporate everything and create the perfect hunting breathing kind of breathing style, as he then leaves with Nezuko being asleep over this time, and Urokodaki sending him off to do the exam. As he arrives to the final kind of selection exam, he sees that there's a bunch of different slayers around, going around and seeing that some of them are very confident, some of them are very afraid, until he sees two little girls arrive explaining how the exam will work, before then sending them out for them to survive a week in the forest. Over this time, Tanjiro used his hunting style to defeat multiple different demons, trying to figure out how to use or how to save his sister, but after realizing that none of them really knew, he just decides to slaughter any demon that comes into his path. Him able to use the Hinokami Kagura to defeat them very easily, using his Hunter's Fist to bring out a little bit of their strength and sap a little bit of their strength from them, making sure that he doesn't have the drawbacks that he had, or not a lot of the drawbacks that he had, until kind of killing them and resting for a short amount of time, making sure that his body recovers from using said Hunter's Fist. Once he gets through a few nights, it is now the 4th day, or the 5th day. As he kind of is scouring around, he sees this strange glow from behind him. As he goes through the forest, he goes through these trees, seeing a strange kind of cove area. As he sees all this, he then goes through the cove, seeing that there's this little girl with a little amulet? No, a strange cup. A strange cup that's filled with what looks like water. As Barn goes in, seeing... Tanjiro goes in, not Barn, I mean Barn as Tanjiro. Tanjiro goes in, asking like what this place is. The little girl turning around, explaining that this is what is left of the fairy forest. Tanjiro, wondering what the fairy forest is, as the girl then explains that they don't have a lot of time and that he must drink the fountain of youth to preserve it. As if he does this, then the fairy forest may come back once more. However, the forest is dying as there are no longer fairies around the area, only demons have taken over the world. But Tanjiro is extremely confused, but obliges as he drinks the fountain, or drinks the strange water out of the cup, as he doesn't feel any different, as he turns to ask the girl what happens next, but he's back in the forest. As soon as that happens, he turns around to see a demon attacking him as the demon slices his arm clean off. Him kind of freaking out, wondering like, what the hang, how did it sneak up on him? When he looks down to his arm and it's back with steam just arising off of his arm. Tanjiro, being very confused, decides to not question it and just charge towards the demon, taking off its head immediately with his 4-section staff. As that happens, he then goes and takes down more demons until he hears screaming. Running towards the sound, seeing this grotesque creature chasing after this demon slayer as it's eating another one. As this happens, Tanjiro charges in, dashes right in front of the kid that was running away as he uses Hunter's Fist, draining away the demon's energy before using Snatch, throwing his hands out and grabbing the demon's heart, ripping it out as he then jumps up, using hunting style, third form, Thief of the Sun, as he uses Hunter's Fist, draining all of the demon's energy and all of its strength, it falling down immediately as he bulks up considerably. His his 4-section staff looking like it's on fire, surrounded by these strange flames covered in yellow, purple, pink and blue. The demon not really seeing it, but Tanjiro just imagining it, since they don't actually emit fire, it's just a figment of their imagination. As he throws down his 4-section staff, hitting the demon square in the head, going straight through the demon's arms and taking off its head easily. As this happens, the other demon slayer, or demon slayer cadet, is very shocked really that he took him down that easily, as his mark changed from the strange scar into the normal scar that he has in the original canon, as that doesn't change. He did also save his brother as a child, gaining the scar on his head. As soon as that happens, Tanjiro then charges forward, seeing that he's got a little bit of a cut on his head from debris, but it healing immediately as the scar appears. As soon as that happens, Tanjiro then charges forward, defeating a bunch of the demons until the time comes. As they arrive to the edge of the different places, or to edge of the forest, arriving back, seeing that only a few of them have made it back. As that happens, the girls then arrive, stating that they shall now pick their metals. As this happens, a strange boy charges up, explaining that he doesn't want to pick his metals, he wants his sword now. As this happens, he then goes towards one of the girls, grabbing at their head. As soon as that happens, he then feels something hold his arm. As that happens, he looks to his right, seeing Tanjiro there, holding his arm in a strong grip before a strange pink glow surrounds him, as the boy loses energy very quickly as he can barely stand up, releasing his hand from the girl as the energy is then taken back into, as he then gains strength back into his body. As this happens, the girls then explain that they will be getting their swords or their different weapons, but they will have to wait for them to be created. As this happens, they then explain that Tanjiro should pick first as he smells out the right metal and gets his weapon to be created. After this, he then goes back to Urokodaki's place as Urokodaki is very happy to see him as he arrives back, seeing Nezuko there, as he runs up to her, grabbing her into a hug as they both start crying as they haven't seen each other for 2 whole years. Tanjiro then sees Urokodaki there as he brings them all into a hug, explaining that he is very happy that Tanjiro has survived. A few weeks pass as Tanjiro waits outside, seeing that there is a strange man in a goblin looking mask, or a weird mask, as he arrives, giving Tanjiro his weapon, which he explains that it is a very unique weapon and he is very happy that he was able to make it for Tanjiro, as Tanjiro opens it up, seeing that it is his 4-section staff. As they go inside, he then takes a hold of it as the man explains that he wonders what the colour will be. It could be red, it could be a blue colour, or it could be just weird, as it turns multicoloured. It has gold with black linings all through it. As that happens, the man is very surprised, wondering, like, what the hang? Like, why is this so weird? As he then explains that he was hoping that it would be like red or something, but oh well, this is just as cool. As Tanjiro is given his kind of crow when they were at the place, wherever they were, the different examination, and the crow explains a few days later that he will have to go to a village where demons have been, or where girls have been going missing. As this is explained, Tanjiro charges off, with Urokodaki creating a kind of box for Nezuko to sit in, it being a quite light wood as she can shrink in and be in it. Tanjiro charging off as he runs off to go defeat the villain. As that happens, a few days later, he arrives as he sees a boy crying in the middle of a street with a man yelling at him that, like, he shouldn't have let his daughter disappear, like, what happened? And after this, Tanjiro walks up to the man asking what happened. Tanjiro, the man then explaining that his fiancée went missing and they don't know where he went or where she went, as they were just talking and then she just disappeared. Tanjiro explaining that he's here to kind of help to figure out what happened, as the man then is very grateful and explains that, you know, he'll help him if he can, as Tanjiro says, yeah, sure, just make sure that you're out of the way to make sure you're not hurt. So Tanjiro waits until night. As this happens, he smells something. He smells a demon charging forwards, as before the girl could even be swallowed up, the demon's head is taken clean off. As his head goes flying off, 2 other demons then burst open in the room as Tanjiro yells, "Hunter's Fest." As the 2 demons drop to the floor, Tanjiro uses his 4 kind of section staff and takes off both the demons' heads with relative ease, with pretty much one swipe, just spinning around and taking both of their heads off immediately. As that happens, he also rips off a part of the demon's jacket, showing the different parts of the different hairbands that the girls, or the missing girls, had. As he gives it to the man, explaining, hopefully one of these hairbands is your wife's or fiance's. As the man is very grateful, and Tanjiro explains that no matter what, they have to keep moving forward, and the man realizes that Tanjiro has definitely been through some stuff. Immediately after, as he kind of leaves the man there to cry about his lost fiancée, Tanjiro then gets a message from the crow explaining that he must go to Tokyo as there has been a demon spotted there. As that happens, Tanjiro arrives and orders some food at night, being kind of freaked out since it's a bunch of lights, but also feeling that this is kind of familiar and that he's been in this kind of situation before, and a strange place where it never sleeps. It's very surprising for him. But anyway, he arrives to this strange noodle stand and orders some noodles, about to eat them, when he then gets a scent. Him placing the noodles nicely on the bench before charging off, running towards the middle of the city and seeing a man. As he grabs onto the man's shoulder, he turns around. Tanjiro ready to take the man's head off, knowing that he's the demon that killed his family. As that happens, he is told, or the man kind of turns around holding a little girl. Tanjiro being a little bit stumped for a second, but still ready to take the man's life. As a woman then asks the man what's the problem, as he explains that nothing's the problem, but he doesn't know who this young guy is. As that happens, Tanjiro kind of walks forward as the man prepares to turn the demon, kind of sliced a man's neck, turning him into a demon. However, Tanjiro uses Hunter's Fist just on Muzan, taking away his energy for a split second, as he almost collapses under the pressure and losing all of his strength. However, it's coming back immediately, realizing that that won't work. So he decides to leave. Tanjiro kind of nodding his head and kind of gesturing for him to get out of there, but he will kill him. But as that happens, a woman then walks up to him as the man walks away. The woman explaining that that is Muzan Kibutsuji, and he is the king of all demons, and she knows a way for him to heal his sister. As that happens, Tanjiro then takes his sister Nezuko and eats the rest of the food as they go to the mansion, or to their house, arriving and the woman explaining that they can heal his sister. As they go through multiple different procedures, this lady explained that her name is Miss Tamayo, and yeah, that she is also a demon, as well as her assistant. As they're explaining this, Tanjiro then smells something outside, as a ball is shot through the building, ready to hit both of the people. However, Tanjiro stands in front of it, hitting him square in the body, making his body explode. As the ball explodes as well, the two demons are freaking out, wondering like, why did he do that? Until steam starts erupting off of his body. As that happens, he then heals, immediately standing back up. Man, that felt weird. I am not used to that. Gee whiz, that kind of hurt. Holy hell. We'll finish this talk later. First, I'll take care of these demons. As that happens, he walks outside, seeing the two demons there, as they both prepare to attack him. However, before the arrow demon can even throw or the bull demon can throw her balls, or the arrow demon can shoot him with his arrows, or direct his gravity, or anything like that. He appears right in front of the arrow demon, using Hunter's Fist on both of them, using his snatch ability to grab the other demon's head and rip it off before using his staff and taking off the other demon's head, taking them both down immediately. The two other demons are extremely surprised. Miss Tamayao and her assistant very surprised, and explains that they can figure out how to do it, and the only way for them to get the kind of Tanjiro to, or Nezuko to be turned back into a human, is for them to get Muzan's blood. The best way to do that is to take down the 12 Kizuki. As Tanjiro takes down, takes the advice and heads off. As that happens, he then is told to go to a mansion where the kind of crow explains that there is a demon in this mansion and people are going missing. As that happens, Tanjiro is walking along, Nezuko being in the box kind of on his backpack as he's walking along, before seeing a strange sight on the road. As he sees a girl kind of pulling at her shirt, and seeing a boy in a yellow jacket, or a yellow kind of jacket, jersey thingy. I don't really know what they're called, but yeah, jacket, as he's pulling, he's trying to pull on her kind of leg and her coat, explaining, "Please, I'm gonna die soon." That was a voice crack. "Please, I'm gonna die soon. Marry me, please. I don't wanna die." As that happens, Tanjiro just rolls his eyes and grabs the man by his collar, pulling him away. This man being revealed as a boy with yellow hair and a yellow jacket, as he's saying, "No, what are you doing? Please stop, I don't want to die." Tanjiro explaining that, "You're a demon slayer, bro. Come on, what are you doing?" And the boy just crying his eyes out, really. As this happens, Tanjiro then walks along, as the boy is kind of afraid next to him, almost shaking in his boots as he's walking along with Tanjiro pretty much having to drag him along. As that happens, they then arrive into the forest, seeing two boys freaking, or a boy and a girl freaking out. As that happens, Tanjiro asks them what's going on, as they explain that their brother has been kind of kidnapped and was taken away by some monster. Hearing this, Tanjiro immediately charges in, telling this boy, his name being Zenitsu, to guard the box and the two kids. Zenitsu explaining, like, not really wanting to do it, but having to, as they end up arriving into the mansion, Zenitsu walking in as well, as they are all split up from a weird sound of a drum. As that happens, Tanjiro arrives and sees a boy, or walks around with a little girl and sees a boy with a drum. As this happens, he then gives the kind of little girl to the boy, explaining that they were trying to eat him, but they then started arguing and he took this drum away from them. As that happens, Tanjiro then decides, alright, that's cool. So he lets the sister stay with the brother, and they both leave, or he leaves, getting ready to defeat this demon. As he kind of arrives, as he's walking around in the building, he then arrives in a room. Him then walking around, seeing, like, wondering what's going on, as the room then spins. Him turning around and seeing a strange demon with drums all over his body, and most importantly, a number 5 carved into his eye with a giant cross cutting through it. As that happens, Tanjiro immediately gets himself ready, bringing out his staff, as he's quite thankful that he kind of found the other kid first before fighting this villain, as if the girl was here, that would be a bit of a problem. Maybe in another life, he would have found this demon first, and not found the kid, leaving the girl here freaking out. As that kind of happens, the demon then tries attacking Tanjiro, attacking him, going after him, but the different kind of stories and the writing and paper is all being avoided. Tanjiro specifically avoiding the paper, taking the demon kind of off guard before he then feels his energy drop. His energy is dropped very suddenly before it's then replenished, and one of his drums, the one that makes him kind of cut through anything, is then ripped out of his body as it lands in Tanjiro's hand, him then whacking it as a bunch of kind of wind blades then charge towards the demon, it having to drop, kind of move past it. As that happens, he then is charged by Tanjiro appearing right in front of him, as he then takes the demon's head off immediately. Taking down the demon, as the demon looks at his writing and sees that none of his writing had been taken down. Tanjiro explaining that even though he was a ruthless, heartless demon who didn't really deserve much mercy, his writing was still pretty cool. The demon's eyes swelling up with tears as he then dies. Before he dies, however, Tanjiro uses the syringe and takes some of the demon's blood. As that happens, a strange cat then appears as Tanjiro gives the cat the blood as it disappears again. As this happens, a man then runs through the building, charging through the building, and charging through the wall and landing in the building. A strange man with a boar mask. As that happens, the man then charges past Tanjiro and runs through the building. As Tanjiro thinks, well, that's enough, he then goes back to the kids and brings them back. As soon as that happens, all three of them arrive outside, seeing the guy with the boar mask beating on Zenitsu, as Zenitsu is kind of cuddled over the box, protecting it. Tanjiro being kind of taken back by this, but kind of thankful to Zenitsu, then asks what's going on, as Zenitsu explains that he's trying to he's trying to get into Tanjiro's box. Tanjiro, thinking he ain't having none of that, charges towards Inosuke immediately. As he charges towards Inosuke feels a strange pull as his body is pulled towards Tanjiro, before then a massive punch being knocked into kind of Inosuke's head, and then a solid headbutt straight after it, putting Inosuke on the ground immediately, knocking him out. Inosuke then wakes up a few hours later as he sees that the people around him are burying the dead. He wonders why they're doing it, and they explain. They are then told to go to a household where people look after demon slayers, as they go there and get rested up for the next few days. After that, they are then told to go to Natagoma Mountain, where it is believed that a family of demons are slaughtering demon slayers left and right. And that is where we're going to end the first part of this 2K special. If you want the next part to come out, I reckon let's set a like goal. Alright, let's set a like goal for this one. Because being honest, I'm not used to Demon Slayer videos, so this took a right golly amount of time to upload. But yeah, so if you guys do want to see the next part come out, which should be the second part to it, there should only be about 2 parts. But yeah, so if you want to see that, then yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Hit, I'd say, let's hit 150 likes. 150 likes and the next video will be out. I know it's probably quite a big like goal, but I need time to actually script and figure out what I'm doing for this, because it took me way too long to figure out what I'm doing for this part. But yeah, so once we hit that, then I'll be sure to upload the next part pretty much the next day, or the next in the next week that you hit the kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So I do hope you guys did enjoy this. Thank you again for 2k subs. Remember, all the links are down in the description, with Saint, the other music, all of that down in the description. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just remember, God is awesome, you guys are too, and I will see you guys in the next video.